All right, we're rolling. We are rolling.
Hello,
Welcome
brother.
to the podcast. I'm here with Axel Rose
Hello, brother.
from Guns and Roses.
I found a new, I've done a lot of reflecting on my life in the last few days. and
I
I've-
sure as freaking hell hope
Hear
so.
me out. I think I found my new way of living. And I think hunting is for the birds.
Yeah.
You know? I'm kind of even disgusted be sitting beside this turkey fan. Because we should be protecting the animals. We shouldn't be shooting them.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. You are the spokesperson for animal protection, specifically turkeys.
They're just such a beautiful creature. Why would anybody want to shoot a turkey?
It's the iridescence. It's the iridescence of their plumage.
You just want to be a part of their presence and then take it in and just be blessed to be in their presence.
Yeah, that's right. To be in their backyard, to be in their bedroom, to be in their kitchen. We were there. We were there this weekend.
Yeah.
We came, we saw.
And we had a great footage.
Yeah, we've got memories.
We got memories.
I'll give you that.
I'm having tofu for Thanksgiving. I've changed my ways. I'm as of Sunday night a vegan.
A vegan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can support you on that one.
Yeah.
Not even vegetarian. You're going straight vegan.
Straight vegan. No, you know what? Like cows and chickens, they're all safe.
Yeah, creatures
Creatures of the land.
of the great spirit. that-
God's beautiful creation.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think we need to rebrand.
Well, so if you're having this epiphany, whatever it was,
Lifestyle,
vision,
way of life, religion, seeing God.
what would have brought that out? What sequence of events could have changed you from carnivore diet, paleo as a mofo, protein this and protein that, to all of a sudden in a 3-day span turn yourself into not only a vegetarian but a vegan? What could have happened?
Well, aside from staring at my ceiling for 6 hours the night I got home from hunting and reflecting on our trip, I just, thought maybe this lifestyle isn't for me.
Okay, so let's back up your turkey career.
Okay.
So
Turkey career.
So
Big fan of eating it prior to the Sunday.
yeah, and a big fan of Christmas,
Yeah.
big fan of Easter,
Comatose on the couch every Christmas
Thanksgiving. Tryptophan is your friend
is my best friend up until this week.
up until this week.
Yeah.
So then
We got a
comes, I
divorce.
don't know, 5 years ago, you come as a cameraman, and we go down to Wyerton to my friends the Millers, and
Gord, Tom.
we Paul and Tom and Brad and Larry, and these guys are as a big name in the Wyerton area, and they were so gracious enough to invite us to hunt down there. And they're also crop farmers, and they lease a bunch of that
Beautiful
that out.
land.
Yeah,
Lots of great creatures and of God's
creation. Yep. And you came down to actually film me.
Yep.
Right. Do you remember that hunt?
That particular hunt?
Where
So my first hunt I remember ever going on wasn't in Wyerton. It was actually in Tweed.
oh, that's right.
My first hunt was in Tweed for turkey, and that was with our good friends Cody Hunter and Mr. Brian Stapleton.
Rob Seifert came on that.
Rob Seifert came on that
Yeah.
trip, and it was you.
Yeah, that was a bit of a shit show.
That was a bit of a first impressions for a turkey hunt was definitely eye-opening.
Yeah, but that was also, there was some questionable karma at the time. We were with an outfitter that we will never go with again, not for turkey hunting but for snow goose, right? And this guy was a maniac. So that part kind of bled into the
We should
turkey
also
hunt
preface on that goose hunt. I tore my ACL
the night of.
the night of getting there.
Yeah. Of your own volition, though. That wasn't my fault.
That was an act of God.
That was, yeah. It was impressive, though, still.
Yeah.
There was some hotel damage.
There was significant hotel damage.
That you paid for.
That I paid for. There was a drywall bill.
Yeah, your ACL just kept giving out.
Yeah.
Like, because it was torn.
Because it was torn. And I thought I could walk on it still. And
you did.
I did.
You walked
For
that
a week straight. Probably 10 kilometers a day in the turkey fields.
I'm saying we covered 40K that week. Between snow goose and turkey, there was a lot of miles covered.
I mean, at one point I remember taking a sock off my foot and wrapping it around my knee and tying it as tight as I could just to isolate the pain
and the movement. Which was it was a tear. I saw it happen. Your leg was like, it was unbelievable how that looked. It was, well, for a while we were calling you
Mirko Crow Cop.
Mirko Crow Cop because your leg just didn't look natural that way. But we did get some birds. That Cody got a bird.
Yeah.
And we missed a bird.
A bird. Very common.
It happens
Very
every
common.
once in a while.
Very common.
On your hunts it happens. And then, but it was, I mean, we did have some good footage from those hunts, and we did well on snow geese. I mean, it wasn't a horrible trip, but we definitely had fun.
Yeah.
On that whole excursion. And it was a good group of guys. We had a bunch of pro staff out, so that was fun. That was early though. That was Wild TV, I think.
Yeah. That was a good week. Lifelong trauma to my ligaments, but
Still
get some clicks every time it gets below 13 degrees. But
you did graduate university
that exact week. Yeah. That's exactly it. You picked me up from Nipissing, and I wasn't even moved out of my dorm yet, and we said, let's go.
No, we moved you out the weekend before. Remember, I went up there the weekend before. We brought all your shit home.
What was I doing there then?
Then you had exams.
I just went to go hang.
Yeah, you had whatever. You had one exam or whatever, and then we went back because you had just finished. You had an exam. I went up that weekend.
That's right.
Grabbed all your gear. All that was left was, I think you slept on the floor or a couch. That couch should have been burned anyway. So I think you left it there.
Probably the couch.
And then we just went straight.
Yep.
We went straight east.
Yep.
Okay, so that was your first one. What was your second one? The second one was down in Wyerton.
Second one was down in Wyerton when we went down. We stayed at Paul's house, but your trailer was there.
Yeah.
And same place we hunted this weekend, actually. All the same lots and the fields, and very similar terrain. Maybe some of the crops were different. But I remember hunting one specific time with Diane and putting some miles into Paul's field and migrating over to Tom's. And it was just me and Diane hunting in a big field on the one day. And we brought in a turkey like within 25 yards, I'm sure. But we just didn't get a shot off.
A Jake or a Tom?
I believe it was just a Jake. But just watching it come in from such a far distance, I think it came in from like 300 yards.
Right.
It's like a field over. We're watching
across the field. Yeah.
Watching it come in. And we were just sitting on the bush line. That was cool. That's kind of the moment where I was like, okay, this is fun. Like, we were calling them in from far, and the game of sitting so still is
because you weren't in a tent.
We weren't in a tent. We were just sitting outside in the bush line, and we talk about this often, like how different turkey hunting is compared to like our common whitetail or moose or bear, because in those hunts you have to be super quiet. If you make a sound, you're going to get picked off. You got to consider wind. There's all kinds of elements. Whereas when you're turkey hunting, wind's not that big of a deal, and you can like have a conversation, and those birds are still going to kind of be and do what they need to do. But the moment you flash or move or give them any sort of visual like cue to exit, they're gone.
They're gone
in a split second.
And I think that's because. I mean, one, obviously their vision is phenomenal. That rivals an eagle, right? So if you consider the rule of thumb that we always say is, if you can see a bird, right? Like if you can see it through the trees and in the field and wherever it is, if you can pick it up, it will see you.
Yeah.
Right. It'll see your movement, because, when you put yourself in a turkey's claws, I guess they're always being hunted by coyotes.
Yeah, they're prey.
Right.
Coyotes, hawks, eagles,
you name it.
Everything wants to eat a turkey.
Right. And
except for me.
So as soon as they see any kind of movement in the trees, they don't look at what it is. They're just like, get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah.
Right. Which makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So great sense of vision. Very different hunt. So yeah, that's the moment when I started to fall in love with turkey. A couple times we've gone up together, and you've harvested turkeys while we were down there. I think I've seen Diane harvest a turkey. Definitely have seen you harvest a few turkeys. Was really excited to see Aspen and Darcy harvest their first turkeys a couple weekends ago.
Yep.
And so it was my turn.
Yeah, this weekend was about
This
you.
weekend, I spent the week in the Sioux for work, and then I booked it onto the Chichimon to catch that boat with you to Wyerton, and told my mom, you know what, Mom, we're gonna defer this Mother's Day dinner because I'm on a mission to get you a turkey for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
This is before my veganism that found its way into my life, and so we get on the Chichimon and head down the Wyerton. Beautiful Cape Croker campgrounds, by the way. What's the formal name of that place?
So it's actually just the Cape Croker RV Park.
The RV park.
Naoshinniniming, I think. Naoshinniniming. I think I'm saying that wrong.
It's a band operated business.
Yeah, Chippewas of Nawash, which is Cape Croker First Nation. They have a fantastic park, right as you get into the reserve, right down on the bay, and there's 350 sites, I believe. They've got where we're overlooking that. We're on a big cliff,
Yeah.
right, overlooking the bay. We saw the northern lights through that big solar flare.
Beautiful solar flare. So
Yeah.
like we were in a place with a lot of light pollution, but even then it looked pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine what it looked like on the island, or like our buddies up in Hearst.
Right.
I was curious to see what kind of pictures that Rick and Larry would have posted, but
Yeah, for sure, because the darker the sky, the better those are. And they were dancing quite a bit, and it's an awesome place. They also have they've got a cool band run business for maple syrup, like a big production.
on site of the RV.
Right,
Okay.
it's right. So you just follow that along the lake. It's actually right in and amongst the RVs as you get closer to the beach.
Oh, okay.
So it's, and most of it is paved roads right down there, fully serviced. Plus they've got the shower house and all of that. And then in their sugar bush operations, or their maple syrup camp, they tap 2,700 trees, I think.
Holy.
Yeah.
And it's all run through a line that goes to a
it's all through
centralized
lines, yeah. Their furthest tree, I think, is 2 kilometers.
2K. Wow.
Yeah. So then
It's a lot of line.
it comes in to these big vats, these big stainless steel vats that hold 2,400 liters, I believe. Or maybe it's even gallons. They're big. I want to say it's gallons, actually. And there's 2 of them, and then they actually pump. They pump it upstairs through a reverse osmosis unit.
Yeah.
To decrease the water content and increase the percentage of sugar. So when sap comes in, normally it has about 3% maple syrup in it, or sugar content, I guess.
Yep.
And then through the reverse osmosis, they increase that sugar content to around 10 is what they're aiming for.
Oh, okay.
And it makes sense because it's less, they're fire operated, right, to burn, as far as boilers are concerned, are wood operated. And so it goes back down into those great big evaporators, as an increased content of sap, and then out through the evaporator and into their supply, right? When I was there, they were doing filling an order for 4,300 bottles of syrup.
So like a bottle being like the size of your cup there?
I think it was a couple hundred mils.
Yeah.
You know, more like what you'd see on a restaurant table, like maybe in Quebec. It's oddly enough, a lot of their orders come from Quebec, and they're big maple, syrup producers as well.
Is that their distribution plan then? Is just like online orders, or do they go in the store? It's like wholesale and
I think most of it is wholesale, or they ship it out to like franchises. And their gift things like that. That's a big spot for it. But yeah, 4,300 was their current order. The guy that was there, Josiah, I think his name was. He was like, "How long you been here?" He's like, "Oh man, like 3 weeks." I'm like, "How far do you have to go?" And he's like, "I'm halfway through the order," because you know what I mean. They have to heat that syrup up as well when they're bottling it. So it comes into this little machine. Their big machine broke. So this little machines are just pouring it, just a little stream at a time, and then slapping on a sticker and putting it in just tons and tons of boxes. But like a real cool business, run by the First Nation of Chippewas of Nawash, Cape Croker.
Okay.
So yeah, they hosted us there at the park. Great site, close to all the amenities and just makes it easy to get to our hunting spots, right?
Yeah, very convenient, very close to Tom's place and Paul's place. Great people too. Beautiful land, man. And close to shout out to the Frosty Freeze in Wyerton, one of the
Frosty
staples
Freeze
of Wyerton.
And not only Frosty Freeze, but a new place that opened up there was Dockside Willie's.
Oh yeah.
Dockside Willie's has the best
free plug
burger. It's a caramelized onion and mushroom burger, and I don't know what that sauce they put on that burger, but dude, I told the guy, I'm like, dude, this is the best burger I can remember eating in the last 5, maybe even 10 years. And I ordered another one. Like the next time I went back, I didn't even try anything. I'm lame that way. I just want that taste again.
Chasing the dragon.
Yeah, I'm having another one. Hit me with another one.
Yeah, and I had the chicken wings. The last meal I've had of the animals of God's beautiful creation.
Yeah, that's right. That was the last supper.
Chicken wings,
right?
Not turkey wings.
Hence your outfit. So okay, back to this weekend.
Back to this weekend.
Told your mom.
Told my mom, I'll see you on Tuesday.
Yeah, you cook her dinner, which was today. You cooked her dinner. That's why we're doing a
little late podcast, but we cooked her dinner tonight because we were going to be gone all weekend, going to take down some turkeys.
Yeah,
plural.
That was a plan.
That was a plan. Until I saw God. So while we were out there, first hunt.
Where were we? Where did we go for the first hunt?
It was a morning hunt at Michael and Gord's.
Yeah. And we got on we were right in, there were gobblers around us. And what happened? Oh, that one gobbler, man, he just stuck on a hen. And the other one that was behind us, they came out at, what was that, maybe 70 yards? To our left.
To our left, yeah.
Yeah.
Two hens.
He wouldn't leave him.
Tom.
Yeah. He strutted for a little bit, but
lots of action in the morning.
Yeah.
Calling, gobbling, first light. It's a cool sound when you haven't heard that in a long time. Hearing that first crack, and it took a little while too. I found on that first morning, I'm like, okay, there's no turkeys here, and then right away,
yeah,
it's like not right away, but within an hour of kind of sitting there.
And then once they start, they're coming out of the trees. It's kind of hard to tell when you're at distance whether they're out, like whether they're down yet. It took a while for them to get down, but they worked their way around us, and but we busted out of there. We were like, you know what? They weren't working. We knew where that other big Tom was. We went and took a peek at him, and we weren't going to get in on him on separating him from that hen
because he wasn't gobbling, and then he saw the decoys too, and just didn't really pay much mind to him.
Yeah, he wasn't coming in.
Well, when you have some hot talent in front of you, it's hard to kind of leave the party early when you haven't even.
That's right. Yeah. And
Tested the water.
the what did we do next? Oh, then we went run and gun. That was it.
Yeah, we thought we would trick them. We thought we would outsmart these little bird brain
And
creatures,
we came
beautiful
across
creatures
now,
of God.
People need to understand that when you're running and gunning birds, you're trying to get ahead of them. Once you see them, you're trying to figure out. And I learned this from Rob Seifert actually, and Trevor Aljo. When you see birds, at a distance, you're watching them for a little bit. Find out what general direction they're working, especially when they have a whole bunch of hens with them, and then just get in front of them, right? As they're working to where you think they're going to go. So it's a little bit of a gamble because you have to stay out of sight.
Yeah.
Now, these particular birds were in a corner of a field that was already worked, like it was a crop field, next to a field that was being readied to be worked in terms of they had taken out the trees, so there were slash piles everywhere.
Yeah.
Great opportunity for us to make our way through all of those slash piles to get to that fence row where the crop field was. Because Darcy and I actually did that last week. We got in on those birds. There were 3 big toms there. And we got into about 70 yards. And we only saw three toms. So we got into about 70 yards and we didn't see the hen. Why we didn't think there was a hen there, I don't freaking know. But the hen busted us as we were focusing on, these guys. Then I saw the hen put up her head looking at us as we're crouched over, and she bolted, and those guys, kind of milled around, and, they're all flared up, and then they followed her, the exit stage right. So I knew we could get in on those birds.
Yeah.
Right.
That specific hunt reminded me of almost 90% of the moose hunts we've ever been on. Stalking and trying to walk in, and then eventually something goes wrong, and it's often wind where we get caught.
With moose, it's wind.
It's wind with the moose.
Yeah.
So the turkey hunt very much reminded me of that we're talking about, because we're creeping up, we're doing the stalk, we're doing what we need to be doing, and we're sitting, we're being patient. But there was like a moment of ignorance as we're turning a corner that led to that us being busted.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, when we actually snuck in on these birds, knowing that as we were getting closer, so now we're in about 80 yards from that fence line, and we're running out of cover, and we had one option, and that was the frickin' army crawl, right? So we dropped all our gear. We brought gun, bipod, head cam, and my phone. I didn't even bring the big camera.
No,
we left it all.
We were on
decoys.
a
We left it all. No, we had one decoy. Remember, I stuck the decoy on the top.
You were right.
Hill,
We had the
right?
hand decoy.
I kept throwing it ahead, and then crawling through the mud and
hundreds of yards.
Yeah, like it was at least 1,000 yards.
for the sake of my rationale veganism, it was
or 70
7 yards.
But we got to that point. We got to the big sand pile. We were right there. Like we were right there. Those birds had moved closer to us for some reason. Maybe they
didn't get picked off. That was
right?
the
Didn't
wonderful
get picked
part.
A couple of chirps, and then they were right in front of you. Like it was right there. Like I'm talking 25 yards.
Wow.
Okay, 27 yards.
50.
No, it was not 50 yards. That was like, I'm on him. I said it. And I don't like doing this. So I hate being this guy.
No, you don't.
I do. Because I know what it's like to be on the trigger, right? When the cameraman says I'm on him. Okay?
I see what you're saying.
That's all you have to do. You should just, that's it. You say it, and then that we know that. That's a pact, right? I'm on him means it's green light. I don't need to say any freaking thing else.
Yeah, I'm staying on him.
I'm on him, and if I'm off him, then I say it because actually this is funny because Luke, when I took Luke hunting, that's what he was saying because he's on camera, right? We're turkey hunting. He's like, I'm on him, I'm off him, I'm on him, I'm off him.
I hate that. That would drive me crazy.
No, but you need to know that, like, that was overkill, but that's calling you off the shot. Because like hunting, it's not remotely the same thing. Hunting
Yeah.
and hunting for video.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing. I harvest way less animals and give up opportunity after opportunity because of the camera,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm either doing something or there's not in the frame, or I'm like, it's just another huge variable, especially when you're doing it by yourself. But even with a camera person, because you got two people now, smelling and moving,
Open for error, yeah.
right? So you just magnify the errors. So, but it is way different, right? Because you're not just trying to harvest, you're trying to harvest in and let a third person, the viewer, in on what it is you're seeing and trying to emulate that the best way you can in terms of what you saw, so that inspires them to get out and try it, right? That's the purpose of what we do, is to because people don't like watching turkey hunting, right? And I get it, because I was one of those guys. You don't like watching it because it looks like the same bird. It's the same nice fan. They do the same thing. It's not a rack, you know what I mean, or a great big rack, or you can't tell the difference in like it's either a 23-pound tom or a 25-pound tom, right? That one was a 25-pound tom, but anyway, they're either 2'6" or 2'10", right? It's hard to tell the difference to a naked eye, and unless you're actually doing it, turkey hunting, watching it, is relatively boring, right?
Yeah.
Unless you know what it's like, unless you've done it, unless you've been excited by that, that cackle that comes back, that thunderous gobble, right? When you hear it at close range, it's exciting, right? Because it's just a cool animal, and you're a part of that conversation. So that's the purpose of what we do and what we're trying to do. So we're in this, leaning against the pile of dirt,
Yeah.
right? And we have great cover in front of us, all that tall grass,
Cedars in
right,
front of us,
and it just has to come out. So when I'm off your left shoulder, so I'm here, and I have this angle, you have this angle. So where I am, when I say I'm on him,
yeah,
right, I'm behind you, and that was the perfect shot, because his head was up, he's looking around, he knows he's looking for us, right, and he can probably see the decoy on the sand pile, so he's aware that something's over there that he might be interested in. But also now we're locked, there's no moving, there's no like, oh, I'm gonna adjust, right, because we're out in the open, they'll bust us. So I wasn't sure if I should have known this, but I wasn't. I didn't think that, because I'm in the moment too. I said it again.
Yep.
Right? I said it twice.
I'm on him.
Like, and I said it with that flair, that inflection.
Yeah.
Like, hurry up. Like, it was infused in it. I didn't mean to, but
but in the moment, it's like you wanna
hurry up. We're getting close to
window
him.
is
He's
closing.
you know what I mean? And you hadn't seen him yet. Like, so I was on him. I'm on him, right? Then I'm like,
because that extra foot you were to the left.
Yeah, it was a completely different
bigger
angle,
window than what
right?
I had.
And you were on the bipod, so you were that way. And so he needed like another 3 or 4 feet before you could see him.
Yeah.
And then when you could see him, right, I'm like, I'm on him. Like, hurry up and shoot this guy. And that's a mistake. It really is a mistake on my part as a camera person, because I already did my part. I press record. I have it recording twice. I'll give you green light.
Yeah.
And I should just shut the hell up. That's what I should have done, right? I know I've analyzed this too, because I've been there. And and when you rush the shot, like, you're on the trigger. If I don't pull the trigger, I don't pull the trigger.
Yep.
You're the shooter, right? And so what that does is, especially first time turkey hunter, right, is that there are mistakes that get made even in the moment when the plan is coming together. That bird turned to his ass and to us.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're ever up close with turkeys and they're aware and alert, they're constantly changing their perspective, right, and doing that. And as you squeezed off.
So I should preface, we were using a red dot reticle on this shotgun that I've never shot before. And I've only ever used a red dot reticle fighting Nazi zombies in Call of Duty.
Which you've played for, I don't know, hundreds or thousands of hours. So
Yeah.
you should be good at it.
But the shine on that red dot was on the maximum setting. So it's drowning the head out in my
In a
vision
redhead, yeah, I could see that.
on a redhead.
And so at the same time, but it is the best turkey model Benelli that you can buy. So there's that part. But I mean, that being said,
I'm an old school barrel sights. Come on.
you have, as you're pulling it, when we slow mode that down, right?
Yeah.
As you're pulling the trigger, it's like a golf swing. You're already in the motion. That turkey's head goes down,
Yeah.
right? Like it literally goes like right over
Perfect time.
top of its head.
Yeah.
Right? And it jumps up and then starts running, and then you fire another warning shot at it, right? And it doesn't. You don't even come remotely close. I mean, you have like there's so many things that have to happen there. You were loaded in enough time, but like,
Yeah.
you got to follow it. You got to know the gun. That was a Hail Mary.
That was a Hail Mary.
Yeah. And that 3-footer was toast. He was history. He flew, actually. The second shot, he jumped in the air and flew across that property. Like, he's gone. And his buddy, who didn't know anything about it, ran to the tree line, went in, and then he came back out. But they were long gone.
Yep.
So that was Tom number one.
That was Tom number one. That was heartbreak number one. That was,
Yeah.
I never want to go to the prom again.
Yeah.
And just sulking.
But you know what? We regrouped. We did an evening sit. We got busted on the way in. Saw a couple of hens. They came in close, right by our tent, but didn't bring in any tom.
And it rained hard.
Yeah.
For that hunt.
You know what though? As hard as it was raining, those hens were just standing out in the rain.
Yeah.
Right, and we were in a tent, which is like a definite game changer to hunt in a tent. One, you're out of the elements. Two, you get away with murder in there, literally. Well, you don't, but like most people do, get away with murder in those sense in terms of moving around, and like you can do anything in there. You can. That's how I get them with a bow. I've never shot a turkey with a bow out in the without a tent.
Yeah.
Right, because that movement,
that draw,
in the yard, you're not. That's too much, right?
Yeah.
But in a blind, you get away with all of it.
Yeah, for some reason.
We're taught. I don't know why. I don't know why. Even when your face is right there,
Yeah.
right? They draw blank. I don't know what it is. As good as their eyes are, something throws them off.
Depth, maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But that's the way to do it, right?
Yeah.
So that afternoon, that evening, so we're done. We're driving around.
Eating
roosting
chicken
birds.
wings.
Yeah, we went roosted bird. We went to roost birds first, right? We went and roosted, and we saw those toms at Tom's.
Yeah.
Right in the cornfield.
Moving the tent for the next day.
So we decided to go. I had a tent there where I shot a tom last week. We went and moved that tent like right under to where we figured those birds were gonna roost. Actually, we saw where they roosted because when we walked through that tree line, we saw all those feathers, so we knew they were roosting up there, right on the ground and stuff. So we moved the tent over there. We got it all set up for that morning hunt.
Yeah.
And we decided we're going to be up at 3:30, right? Because we wanted to be in there, set up at 5.
Before 5, yeah.
Yeah. So that there was no chance that those birds could see us in the dark. Because, getting in there at 5:30 or 5:15, that 15 minutes is critical. If you're a turkey hunter, it's 15 minutes. But it's the most critical 15 minutes if you're going to get up early, like make sure that you're not cutting it that close.
Yeah, because you can get spotted with that minimal crack of light.
Minimal crack of light, right? Like you just, and we had our headlamps on. We was pitch black.
Yeah.
And we actually we went to the wrong tree. You know what I mean? Going across that field. That's how dark it was. But they don't mind that. They don't mind lights. They see vehicle lights, right? They don't know where that is, and then they're gone. So, but if they see bodies move through that field, they're like, I'm just gonna walk the other way when I get down, right? And so we made sure, because we only had the morning. We had to catch the ferry, and we were pulling out of the RV park. So we had to, we knew our hunt was done at 10 a.m. Right? So we had, and we brought 2 guns just in case we had a chance at a double, right? Because we did know that there were multiple toms in the area. Mm-hmm. And we were there, so it was perfect.
Perfect morning.
It was a perfect morning, right? Yeah. And I actually, you know, I so it's Mother's Day, right?
It's Mother's Day morning,
and I remember telling you, like, this, I just fucking love being there at that time of day.
Yeah.
Right. And even more especially, you know, even on a Mother's Day, like this is, the outdoors is my voice.
Yeah.
Right. Like this is where I think I'm a better version of myself. Maybe not when I'm pissed off at a hunter with my blind, but like, no, but I mean, honestly, like finding your voice, like this is a purpose in life, right? I think it should be everybody's. Find your voice. Right. And once you do, operate through that voice and help others find their voice, right? And by finding their voice, I mean finding what makes you tick, right? And what makes you happy, and what gives you joy and gives you meaning to your existence. And for me, it is being outdoors and harvesting and creating memories and just breathing and living and taking everything in, right? Like those little birds that were in front of our tent in the morning there when nothing else was happening and they were the first birds up. Mm-hmm. I mean, to me, like that's magic, right? And I said that to you, when you think of how many people hunt turkeys worldwide, I don't know. Even let's say North America, right? But even if out of 8 billion people, right, there are probably maybe in Canada 100,000 turkey hunters, maybe.
That many?
No, I don't even think so. Probably not even that many. Maybe all of Canada. And so if you take the U.S., maybe 500,000 hunters. And of those, how many are out that morning? I don't know. But the point is that it's such a small percentage of people globally that were doing what we were doing, right? At that same moment. It's a rarity. It's a freaking privilege, right? To be able to do that. And you know what I mean? And my mom instilled that in me. And she allowed me to find my voice. She showed me my voice and demanded that I operate from that, right? You know, by encouragement to get a biology degree, and you know, just to do always spending time outdoors and that kind of thing, and that was that morning, right? Like that, and I was in the moment there, as the sun was coming up, and those turkeys started to gobble behind us, right, and across the road, right, and it was like, okay, this could very well happen. Right, we could have, you know, the vengeance on these birds. It's payback time. That's what I was thinking, and we wanted to pay back twice. We brought 2 guns. Mm-hmm. Right,
we're ready.
We're ready. I'm loaded, shell in the chamber, and I loaded mine, and you were loading yours. And I asked you, what did I say?
Are you loaded?
Is there a shell in the chamber?
Is there a
And you said, yes, there is. And
yes,
I said,
there is. Are you sure?
Because I didn't hear it. I know I was like rocking mine, and I was like, Okay, you know what? No, that's twice. I mean, I asked him twice. Right? Like okay. He must have did it while I was doing mine and I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Right? Because I did. I heard you messing around with it and I figured, and whatever. It's loaded. There's one in the chamber. So this turkey jumps. He's like 100 yards away from us in the trees, roosted.
Mm.
He jumps out.
Gobbling all morning. He
jumps out. And he's thundering in the bush, right?
Hot to trot.
He's hot to trot. He's coming through. We're watching him through the tent, like through the slit in the tent. And the hens fly out in the field, but he's got our Jake pegged. And he comes out of that bush line and like just a straight beeline to our turkey setup. We use Avian X. They've got I've got a real turkey fan, kind of like that. It's a Jake one on the back of that one. Then I've got a Jake. I wanted to have a flock in front of us that morning, right? Made a little bit of a mistake. I put them within 20 yards. It was really close. It was exactly 17 yards. Because we measured it. And out comes that Tom.
Out comes the Tom, beating his chest, flared up, looking ready for action, ready to fight, ready to whatever other F words you want to put in there.
Yeah.
And he was ready to rock. So I could kind of see him coming out through the cracks of the one window, and then you're on him with the camera coming in again on my left. Great angle of him walking out, but I can't see most of that opportunity where I'm sure it would have been a shot right there as he was kind of sitting and standing beside the tent. But anyways, he's walking out in front of me, and as soon as he stops and I'm on him and I'm so confident, I'm like, okay, redemption time, baby, let's go.
Click.
Put all this effort into like setting up the shot and going through my steps in my head, and they go click, and that was the sound of nothing in the chamber.
Oh,
and I started to panic a little bit. There's a little bit of like the heart rate just shoots up, the adrenaline spikes. Like, oh my god, not again! This can't happen. It starts spiraling, and then I remember saying like, okay, deep breath, calm down, take a breath, try to regroup. And as this turkey's kind of attacking the Jake, I have to kind of reposition because it's a little bit further out of my comfort zone for the shot of the window I had to shoot out of. So I had to readjust, and the bipod I'm kind of focused on or positioned on. One leg was shorter than the other. At my fault of not getting it tightened up enough.
Yeah, no, it was like completely loose.
Yeah, I couldn't get it tight. And so I'm on one leg aiming at the turkey and doing my steps again, trying to calm myself down.
You're rattled though.
I'm rattled, but I'm trying to like calm it down and just in an awkward position, but still consciously in the shot. And I remember having that dot on his head, being so confident in the execution, and then pulling the trigger. And I, in reflection, remember not even following through with the shot, but already looking at if I hit it.
Yeah.
So this movement, along with that shaky bipod, just caused me to have such a slight movement enough for that whole array of shells or of pellets to go right
in front of his face,
like probably skin the skin off of his nose there, off the beak.
Yeah, and up he flew, straight in the air, and then I watched him fly all the way across.
And that was the moment I became a vegan.
That was it. Vegan forever. Hashtag vegan forever.
Yeah. Well, it almost started when we were doing our first turkey hunt in the pig farm. Remember all of those pigs getting rounded up onto the big trolley there by that
was
farmer?
Traumatizing.
Holy moly. I almost quit bacon for 16 hours after that. I swear I skipped it for breakfast. I
was
had
it
for
a
lunch.
bus they were loading them on?
It was like an old bus,
school bus,
but it was almost like a 2-layer school bus that was painted so you couldn't see what it really was, a slaughterhouse. And I just remember this farmer with this whip just fucking hammering, yeah, pig, yeah, pig,
and they're screaming.
God.
Yeah, I remember.
And it stunk so bad.
Yeah, no, that was super funny. Well, it wasn't funny because they were going off to be slaughtered, but I mean, that's what happens at a pig farm. Like, why do you think there's so many pigs there?
Definitely changed my relationship with pea meal bacon for a little while.
Yeah, for at least till the Monday.
Not real bacon. I never quit that, baby.
Yeah, but yeah, you know what? The number of things that can go wrong. Man, we like afterwards after we like are just it was pretty quiet there for a bit.
An hour. It felt like an hour. Probably like 5 minutes.
It was just like what I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't know what you did. But I knew when that chambered round is not in the chamber when you expect it to be, and you squeeze that off.
Well, yeah, that's happened to you on a moose hunt.
That one was a dud. Punched the center of but it didn't go off.
It misfired.
Right? Those misfires, like they rattle you. I mean, like you do have to, get your composure back. And there's so many, like think of so many little things that can go wrong when you had to readjust out of the side window to the middle window, and that middle window is mostly for camera, so you have to kind of squeeze your the barrel out you're leaning it on the tent, right?
Yeah, kind
of thing to get that shot off. So there's just a million and one things that can go wrong in that scenario. It's just like archery, right? In terms of white-tailed deer, there's so many things that can go wrong, and you have to be very mindful of the moment, right?
Yeah.
And I say this all the time when we're coaching, right? Number one thing, right after attitude, right, is attendance, and this is it. It's the biggest predictor of success at high school, right? Is kids that show up. Like, it's not how smart you are. It's not who your parents are. It's not how much money you have or don't have. It's not where you come from. The biggest predictor of success at school is attendance. Mm-hmm. If you show up, you will be successful, right? So there's that attendance, right? So we were there. We attended. The other piece when we're coaching is attendance to task, right? And all of those little things that add up to the result that you're trying to get. And that one thing that we said, we should probably, go shoot this gun first, just to, just squeeze some triggers. I know you've been shooting bow because we got a big bear hunt coming up. And we thought, you know what? We erred on that side, right? We erred on that in terms of attending to that detail of just being sure, right? And I know we do that with the girls, especially, with Darcy and Aspen, because for us as adults, we can recover from that, but that also builds up a lot of anxiety, right? On if it's met with failure too often, and then you're just like, that's not for me, because I don't like the feeling of not being successful after a number of those instances, right? And so I can see why you're a vegan, right?
Well,
because no, I mean,
conversation with God, beautiful creatures.
The piece of wanting redemption, right?
Yeah.
That will, and again, another coaching thing that I always say is, like, when we're in those moments and it's 24, 23, right? And we're on the 23 side of things. And I've said this, I love being in that moment, right? Is when we call those timeouts, and the will to win has to be more than the fear of losing, right? And in those moments, because that next moment, right, after you get through this little vegan phase, right, that next moment, whether it be bear or whether it be whatever it's going to be, right, there has to be a driver there to say, okay, I don't like that. I want to erase that feeling of not being successful, and I want to replace it
Yeah.
right? And sometimes that happens quickly, right, in terms of redemption, and sometimes like it takes a long time, right? Sometimes it takes a year. um you know, and it happened to me with one of the biggest bucks I've ever shot, right? where I missed, like, I just, and that's different. The beauty about turkey hunting is that redemption, that big tom is tomorrow. Like, that big tom is the next day.
Yeah.
You do that with a whitetail, a monster, or a moose, right? Or a big bear.
You may never see that again.
That opportunity leaves town, and very likely forever.
Yeah.
Right? Like Lucky, that big buck, right? Where I missed him at close range with a gun I knew how to shoot, right? And was trained on him to fire and kill him.
Yeah.
And that last check on the camera, that, you know, instead of whatever the variable was, me flinching, me yanking or punching the trigger, whatever mistakes I made in those variables, right, caused me a feeling of I wanted to quit the show. Right? You know, there's a part of me that was just like, you are supposed to be good at this.
Yeah.
You are this isn't supposed to happen.
Putting in all this effort.
Right? You did everything right to be attending here, right? You're here, right? But there was a piece of attending to task that I let the lack of control of adrenaline, you know, the fight or flight response, the amygdala, whatever is causing this issue, right, overrode it.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a mistake. And in comes humility, right? In the intermediary, in the time between, you know, failure and your next success,
yeah,
right? There's this place where, you know, that teaching of humility rears its frickin' head, and you realize that you make mistakes, and you realize that you're imperfect, and you realize that this makes the next moment better, that it happens to everybody, right? I did the same, like, I did that same shot, your first shot.
Yeah.
We tried to do a double Jake take, Trayton and I did the exact same shot, right? Where I shot at the back of the bird and he moved his head, and you see those shells, the pellets go over, and you watch him run away,
yeah,
right? Like, you watch him leave the field 300 yards away,
yeah,
right? He didn't go and hide and die. You didn't kill him, right?
Yeah.
And that part is important, and it's important. I mean, you know, after our silence of the lambs there for a little bit, you know, we were pretty quiet. We settled in, and then we started laughing, and we laughed about, you know, making you a necklace, and just like, you know, we were laughing about the shit that just went down,
mm-hmm,
right? And that's what hunting's about.
Yep.
Right? It just is. It's just, if it's not about learning from failure, right, then who wants it?
Well, that's a good analogy for not just hunting, but it sounds like with most things in life. I was just listening to that little spiel and thinking about my dating life the last 5 years and drawing all those parallels. But you could also, like, work or any kind of endeavor that you're kind of passionately pursuing. Yeah, that's a great analysis for life and lessons that hunting can teach you.
But I mean, that's why we were there. That's the voice, right? And that's the voice that the outdoors allows me to speak from. And everything that you learn in those instances about resilience and about failure and about what your character is and isn't, and you know, are you are you an asshole in the field when you know, or are you like, do you roll with the punches? Do you you know, like, and I've been all of those, right?
Yeah.
As I've learned how to navigate that and how to make sure that, especially my kids, right, don't misunderstand, right, the scenario, and shy away from it. And this
Right.
year was a case in point with you know, for Darcy. Aspen's working on weekends, and she's you know, busy with tennis right now, and her weekends are kind of swamped. But Darcy said this year this is her year. She's going to harvest a turkey, and we had the same window as you. We only had a day and a half to do it.
Yeah.
On the way down, and you know, the morning that she shot, we were in Paul's field, and we knew those big birds were down there, and we could see them through the fog, super foggy, no gobbles anywhere. One distant gobble, and then 3 jakes came down the field, made their way like molasses down the field, and then in the last 75 yards, you know, saw our setup and come running in, right? But there's 3 of them, and so Darcy can't get a shot. Like, and there's 3 heads and there's 3 bodies, and they're overlapping, and I could see her like getting the anxiety going up, and she, you know, and it's exciting, and they're purring and clucking, and she's just trying to find which one to settle in on. And at one point she said, I can't do this. Like, I heard it, right? And then she's like, no. And she settled in, and like, I would love to have seen what her pulse was,
Yeah.
right? And because her anxiety level and everything, the moment was getting her. Like, it was just, you can see it happening, and then she's just like shook it off.
Yeah.
And then the bird separated, and she hammered that Jake and got her first bird.
That's wicked.
Right? And you know, that's she's been, when we say she's been hunting for, you know, turkeys for 3 years, I mean, you go out 4 times, like she's in school, and like, so yeah, it's the span of 4 years, but it's really 4 hunts, right?
Yeah.
And we've had some really intense moments in those times that are anxiety filled and stress filled, right? And pressure. I mean, I get it. The show is pressure, and being there and wanting to, you know, get a bird for your dad or whatever,
Yeah.
for yourself, and
Yeah.
for the show, and it's all tied into, you know, that buildup. But she's like, I'm doing this, right? I'm doing this, and I'm getting it done. Because I asked her, like, if you don't want to wait for a Tom, and she's like, frick, no, I'm not waiting for a Tom. If those guys give me a shot, I'm taking a shot at a Jake, right? Legal bird, you know what I mean? And then she took that bird back down to Hamilton. She sent me the creations she made with, you know, sesame seeds and like whatever. She's a good cook. You know, looking for recipes. She made a apple turkey sausage for breakfast, and like seeing like watching that happen for me, I can't even put that into words how awesome that is for me.
Yeah.
Right. That's a Father's Day gift. That's a birthday gift. For me, that's it. When I see someone do something like that, that you turn them on to, and then they can do it.
Yeah.
Right. And it's, people don't understand, you know, they're like, oh, you shot a turkey, or you shot, you know, big deal. Right. I mean, it is a big deal.
Yeah.
You harvested something, right? You took something's life,
Yeah.
and it's gonna sustain you, right? It is a big fucking deal, right? And people, you know, and people don't. It's bothersome because they don't know, right? And they're passing judgment on something that they don't understand, and they think they do. And until you've done it, and until you've been in that scenario where you're up at 3:00 in the morning, you go to bed at 10, you're going to attend to task. Until you've been there and watched these birds and watch how they behave, or watch that game, right, and learn about them and their physiology and why they're doing what they do, to put yourself in a position, right, and keep all those variables within your control to harvest it, you don't get to say. You don't get a critique. Right? You just get to watch. And if you don't like it, then move on. And if you do, then try it. Right? Because it isn't as easy as people think. Right? And sometimes it will be. Sometimes that moose comes right out. Sometimes it doesn't even feel like this is a big deal. And then sometimes it's a fucking grind. Right? That takes you a month of that. Some of my that last hunt with my bow with Darcy, right, with that bull moose, that was I think it was the 28th day, right, of the same thing, right, because we go up on weekends, sometimes come back, and the trailer's up there for for whatever it is, 5 weeks, and that's 2 hunts a day. Some days it's all day, right? Like, it's a ton of time for it to finally come together. But man, when it comes together, it's freaking awesome, right? It's and the episode for season 8 in turkeys is when plans come together, plans fall apart. And if there is a statement that could size up turkey hunting, right, and summarize it, that's what it is. It's plans coming together and plans falling apart.
It's so chaotic.
Yeah. So, I mean, you were there.
I know exactly what the chaos is like. I know exactly what the heartbreak and the lows are, and even the highs are like, being a part of the celebrations of others. And I can't wait to be back on the redemption arc. And I said that as soon as I got home, of wanting to shoot and making sure I'm going to be zoned in and locked in and well practiced for bear coming up. Because as shitty as it was to have that experience with turkey, definitely a learning experience, a growing experience, I would much rather miss that opportunity with a turkey than have a detrimental experience with a bear.
Yeah, 100%. And like last year, searching for that bear that was a good shot, you one-lunged it. Still, that bears are different, right? They don't bleed the same way.
Yeah.
And that it clogged that exit wound even on a full pass through.
Yeah.
And we could not find that bear, and we lucked out when we did. Like, it was
going to bed that night after shooting that bear and not knowing if that was a good shot or not, because the arrow was dry, and knew it had gone through but not sure how well the shot was. That was brutal. I don't want to experience that again. I know I would be able to mentally handle it if I really had to, but I do not ever want to be in that position again. I want to be as clean and
you want to hear
clear.
The moan. You want to be
hear
done.
The moan. I want to be able to get a quick harvest and not spend 4 hours the next day on hands and knees, drop after drop, looking for blood every 6 inches.
But that was one of the best celebrations ever.
But the celebration and the elation that comes out of that, it's such a relief, but it's also like such a part of that experience of like the humility piece is so important to the appreciation and the gratitude and the love that you have for that kind of experience. And I find that the hardest, or the hunts that I hold dearest and closest to my heart, like I always recall and think of in the memory bank, are the ones that sucked the most, like emotionally just sucked, and it was usually followed by some sort of elation or like lesson afterwards.
Some miracle,
exactly. Like, you don't often remember the hunts where you it was just a hunt, or it was an easy kill. It was the hunts that there was
some suffering,
and there's anguish, and there's emotional letdown, and then there's a spike of elation and gratitude after. That's what keeps me going back for hunting. It's hard to describe if you've never actually been a part of those kinds of hunts. If you've gone hunting and are really familiar with just kind of 100% success, or a high degree of success, you take it for granted. I find sometimes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I've fallen into that as well.
Well, when it seems easy, right?
Yeah.
And when you do things, when you meet with that success, on your first time, or a couple of times back to back, you're just getting started.
Well,
Right?
I think that's a big misconception too, with a lot of non-hunters kind of casting that judgment on hunters. I'm like, oh, you're going out with a gun. It's easy. You just show up and you shoot an animal and you harvest it like 100% one time, every time. And that's just not the case
It's not the case.
for any animal, whether it's moose, bear, deer. Even if you're on like an outdoor, what am I thinking?
An outfitter?
An outfitter. Yeah. If that's not 100% by any means.
No.
Like, sure, you're paying money to be there, a part of the experience, but there is a low degree of certainty that you're going to be successful.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I think I think when we look at the lessons learned from from a comedy of errors like this weekend, right?
Well, I think Jesus was protecting those turkeys so I can find my new way of life.
Yeah, that too.
The Lord.
Yeah, maybe that might be the case, but I think the lessons learned again is humility, right? That's a piece there that's just like, and I told you I'm busting balls. I'm like, I'm not letting you forget this until you redeem yourself. Like, there's everybody's asking me, they're like, because we're posting.
Oh,
right?
I know. My whole family has told me how my turkey experience has been before I've been able to tell them how my turkey experience.
Because
has
I've
been.
seen your family first. I saw your dad at 8 o'clock this morning. I went on a charter today, and you know what? I went on a charter today. I didn't catch any fish. Right? It happens. We had a fish, and she pulled how someone didn't lose an eye. How hard she was pulling.
Come out.
Like, I'm ready to scoop it, and she's pulling hard, and that thing came out like a rocket. And I didn't even catch. Like, I couldn't. Usually, I'm ready to block that.
Yeah.
Right. It was a nice rainbow, and no, I didn't. It came out that way, and it just went flying right over the boat like it was a rocket. I mean, listen, it happens.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. Is that if you spend enough time doing that, hunting, and you are gonna miss.
Yeah.
Right. You are gonna make a shitty shot. Right. I made a shitty shot on a deer this year, and I almost blew it. I almost did not get that little buck, right?
Mm-hmm.
in the recovery, because my ego demanded me to get down and go look for that deer, and I knew I hit it back, right? And I was punching myself out in the tree stand, right? Because my ego said, you get down, you go look, you just go peek.
Yeah.
And if I had done that, I would have bumped that deer.
Yeah.
Right. And I didn't. It took everything. 45 minutes of sitting in there, and then getting down, and then leaving. Not going, like, just getting my arrow and getting out of there. Mm-hmm. And knew it was cold. I knew that deer was going to lay down, probably within 100 yards, and I would find it in the morning. And it didn't go 70 yards. Mm-hmm. But had I gone there, right, it would have jumped. And it would have been gone, and I would have. It would have been dead, because it would lay down, and like the die of sepsis, right? Septicemia, right? It will die somewhere. If you shoot a deer or any animal in the guts, it will die. It will 100% die. It just won't die of cardiac shock or thoracic shock. It will die of septicemia. Mm-hmm. So and this is a lesson that is so hard to learn, right? Is that, I mean, I read an article of an outfitter, from a big deer outfitter, that says if you have the chance, right, you shoot it in the gut. This is what he said. I read the article, right? And people are like, what the hell? I'm like, what? He's like, because that's 100% a dead animal. Mm-hmm. If you want to 100% kill an animal, you shoot it in the gut, right? But you won't recover it if you don't do things right, right? Because you shoot it in the front shoulder, that animal can live. We found a bear. We shot a bear right up there, or the Wesleys did, with an arrow. When they cleaned it, right, this bear had a completely healed broadhead in its spinal column. I'll show it to you when you're up there. It's unbelievable.
I think I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen.
You saw it. Yeah, you saw it last year, right? I mean, you hit it in front of that big one that's downstairs that I mounted, right? He had a full arrow head and 6 inches of the shaft, right, tucked up under his arm, completely healed. I didn't. When I was cleaning it, I'm like, "What is this?" It was a big like glob of like fat, right? And it had healed over that, right? Yeah. And it was old. It was like you couldn't tell any. It was old. Yeah. Those animals, they live through that stuff, but they won't. They will die of septicemia if you shoot them in the gut, right? Yeah. And so if you do that, you're not aiming to do that. I'm not promoting that in any way, shape, or form. Don't get me wrong, right? But if that happens, then you leave it.
Yeah.
Right? You don't let your ego get the better of you, and you will recover that deer or that animal. And you know what? When I recovered that, there was no difference. Like it had caught the front end of it. So the further you go back, right, the more bacteria it has. Right. So the gut, upon shot, it takes longer to die. Right, because it doesn't get a septicemia as fast, and then you get the small intestine, the large intestine. No, it's small first, then large. Yep. Right, and I hit that one. I didn't hit it in the gut. I hit it in the small intestine, right, and so I knew I needed to give it 10 hours, right, just because of the bacterial content that needs to happen and get into the blood, and I did, and I recovered that deer, right? So there's a lesson to be learned there every time you go out. If that was the case for you, what would you say the turkey lesson was?
The turkey lesson for me was the preparedness. I walked into that hunt thinking, I've got a shotgun, almost cocky, of like, this is going to be easy. Turkeys are going to come to us. I've got the best tech here. I'm just going to line it up and pull the trigger. This is just fish in a barrel. Easy peasy. Yep. And I totally underestimated the hunt. I totally underestimated my skill set with a shotgun at that range, and with the tech that we had on it. And I think, that's definitely my takeaway after the reflection piece is the prepared element of, putting your reps in to practice for game day.
Yep, that's it. That's a great lesson because we have a couple of things coming up that are pretty big deals.
Significant, yeah.
So Rosebud Thorn for you.
Let's plug the Manitoulin Outdoor Show.
That's going to be my bud. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, well we'll share that then too because my bud as well as that Manitoulin Streams Anglers Outdoor Show.
Yeah, the Angling Trade Fair.
Angling Trade Fair,
official word.
Is going on in Kagwang, the beautiful city of Kagwang, the most
prettiest village in Ontario.
That's what I was looking for. That's going to be Saturday and Sunday, May long weekend.
Coming up this weekend.
So if you're in the vicinity, come check it out. There's going to be vendors. There's going to be food. There's going to be games and prizes and auctions and
guest speakers. There's
going to be live music. Yours truly. Absolutely. So come on and check it out in Kagwang from 10 to 6 Saturday, and I believe 10 to 4 on Sunday.
Right.
Bring the family.
They got passports, things where you can go to the Chocolate Works and Boobaloo and all of the little shops in town there, and you can win prizes. Your kids can win some stuff. I think there's a walleye derby for kids because walleye opens this weekend. So there's all kinds of stuff to do. It's going to be lots
pulling,
of fun.
Competitions,
anchor throwing.
It's all local business, and it's supporting a nonprofit that does great work with Manitoulin Streams.
Absolutely,
restoring the natural resources and pristine ecosystems of our community. So absolutely come on out if you can make it. So great bud. A thorn in my side has been my sleeping habits for me. I've been really knocked off task with between my work schedule, turkey schedule, and then just staying up to watch the playoffs.
Those freaking Western games, dude.
I know you stay up for a Western game because I'm invested in the Dallas Stars right now for my hockey pool, and so I'm committed to staying up till at least midnight for these games, and then
your travel schedule, you're all over the place.
Travel schedule, for work has been on the road lately. What I'm looking forward to also is for work heading to Vancouver coming up in about a week, traveling out there, and then the week after that we're going bear hunting.
Yeah, so you got a busy schedule. What's your rose?
My rose is definitely, I think like what's been going on within our family personally the last week. It's just been that recognition of like the support systems that we have, and like really gravitating to recognize how grateful I am to have like family so well knit and so supportive of one another when there are hardships or there are kind of things that we really need to like lean on each other for. So I think my rose has just been the recognition of being able to spend so much time with family, and that's why I really wanted to root my life on the island, is to be involved in that community with family and friends. But just I think I take it for granted as it's an everyday occurrence. You kind of don't think about how awesome and how easy it is to miss out on some of those opportunities. So my rose has definitely been spending time on the road, turkey hunting with you. That was a great experience. Lots of lessons learned. I hate how you definitely like that talk that you had with me after that miss on the second day. I absolutely hated hearing it in the moment, but in reflection, I was like, I needed that so much to get my full circle out of that, and me kind of biting that piece of humility. And the humble pie was very eye opening, and I'm very grateful for that. So yeah, just with that all being said, my long winded rose is recognition of gratitude for family and support.
Awesome. That's a great one. I agree with all of those. I'm looking forward to the trade fair and the angling trade fair. The thorn this week has been the RV park. We're behind schedule. And it's stuff I can't control. I don't know if it's because I'm a control freak or I don't know what it is, but when it's not in my power to fix something and I'm depending on other people to do that piece, and oh man, when it doesn't work, it drives me nuts. So that's my big thorn right now. Anyway, it's one of those things. I just gotta roll with it and not let my blood pressure go through the roof on that, because I mean there are other people at stake. There are other people's happiness at stake.
Yeah.
Right? Like, or delayed, or it's not at stake. But I mean, if we're not open on time when we said we're gonna be open, right? Because of delays and parts and whatnot. Other people are chomping at the bit a little bit too, right? And we want them to come here. I want there's enough to go around. Mm-hmm. Right? You're right. This is the best place on the planet to live.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I took these people out. We went to the, La Cloche foothills today, right? In the boat, the oldest, mountain range on the planet. And when I was telling them that these mountains were higher than the Himalayas 4 billion years ago, right? They were blown away. And so, that part, I have to just take it with a grain of salt. A rose, a couple things. We have been successful because we've been out. There's success in that in terms of hunting. Darcy got her first bird. That was a big one. Aspen's, she's just kicking ass and in everything she's doing. And I've got a report card. I won't share marks, but I'm just like, what? How? And then they won. They won Nissa. She's doing mixed doubles with Eli.
The badminton,
Tennis.
tennis.
Yeah, so they qualify for NASA.
Nice.
It's just that makes me happy when your kids are successful. So that's definitely my rose. And yeah, it's been, man, we got so many buds to be. I'm going turkey hunting next week with Scott.
Yeah.
Right in Ottawa, right after the trade fair this weekend, and I'm doing a walleye episode next week in Ottawa. So I got lots on the go and lots to look forward to, and
Nice.
I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. Say hi to Scotty for me.
I will do that. As always, we'll be fueling our passion and fueling the fire.
By getting outdoors, baby.
Getting outdoors.